Tonight, a Denver 7 special report.
I think this is the time where it has to break open.
Parents should know, because this was quite a serious situation.
It's the unthinkable.
I was 17. He was 31.
Teachers and school employees accused of crossing the line.
There is no way that I would have consented to that, ever.
Breaking the rules.
Can you help people understand what happened here?
Preying on students.
I could see why an outsider would look at that and go, oh my gosh, this looks really bad.
And top school administrators and some of Colorado's most respected school districts keeping the truth from parents.
Was the Vista Peak community notified of Mr. Timbrell's arrest?
No, not by us.
Is there part of you that wishes you didn't wait more than 90 days to inform parents?
Oh, Tony, it would have been a hell of a lot easier.
You've absolutely exposed a cover-up.
Denver 7 investigates. Parents in the dark. Secrets exposed.
It is a scandal. It is absolutely a scandal.
Now from our studios in Denver, Chief Investigative Reporter Tony Kovaleski.
Good evening. Tonight, the culmination of several months of asking people in power a simple question. Why are parents in the dark when teachers and school staff get arrested for serious crimes involving students, children? Our topic is serious, and quite frankly, many times the information we've uncovered, it's disturbing. But our intent here is clear. We're holding leaders of schools and school districts accountable for keeping secrets. We're asking them if their priority is protecting district reputations instead of students. Now, during the next 30 minutes, our investigative unit turns a bright light on a dark problem in Colorado.
I mean, I was naive.
Tristana has decided to let the world know.
I was innocent. I was young.
Speaking out for the first time following what she describes as the worst experience in her life.
I was a student who had built this relationship with this teacher who I trusted.
And that trust betrayed by this man, her music teacher at Vista Peak Academy. His mugshot followed his arrest. His confession came before his sentence. A lifetime on the sex offender registry and 90 days in jail.
I think it's so important that people understand that this is a prevalent issue in schools.
Her voice, a voice of courage. Her motive, share the pain, and maybe the message can bring change.
It's closer to home than you would ever want to see or admit.
She's talking about schools in Colorado. Institutions built around learning lessons.
How many degrees are in any triangle in the world?
Buildings where parents send their kids expecting an education and a safe environment. There is currently no state law in place that requires schools and districts to notify parents.
That's a big problem.
Our reporting has also included critical information from informed insiders.
The stuff's got to stop. These people need to be held accountable. The school district needs to step up and do their job.
Parents, guardians, they need to know what's going on. And I think in this case, it was withheld.
Our reporting started here last September. Sources tipping us off to a secret inside Grandview High School. A secret inside the Cherry Creek School District. For several months, parents not told the security guard arrested on felony charges, sexual assault on a student.
I saw them hiding the truth.
He's an insider who wants to keep his job. He asked us to disguise his identity.
I think parents should have been told exactly what had happened.
What was your reaction when you first heard it?
I was disgusted.
Disgusted by the details of security guard Broderick Lundy's arrest.
Police arrested 29-year-old Broderick Lundy.
Frustrated that for 110 days, the Cherry Creek School District kept parents in the dark.
I think the ball was dropped. I wish we would have known what was going on at the school.
Parents not told that police arrested a school security guard until Denver 7 Investigates broke that story back in September. Was this a cover-up?
Oh, yeah. There was no question this was a form of cover-up.
I don't believe that this was a cover-up. It was a decision around communicating or not communicating.
Cherry Creek Superintendent Harry Bull made the decision to not tell parents. One of your district employees, a security guard, gets arrested for sexually assaulting a student.
Yes.
And you don't tell parents for more than 3 months.
That's correct.
3 days after Denver 7 uncovered details of Lundy's arrest, Superintendent Bull sent this letter to parents.
I'm not defending our position. I'm explaining our position. If I've erred on the side of trying to take care of a kid.
The Cherry Creek superintendent said he kept the arrest a secret, attempting to protect the victim. But this police report, uncovered by Denver 7, raises even more questions. That report seems to lay out that there may be additional victims. That's from February of 2016. That's a police report.
Okay, I've not seen this.
At the top of that report, it reads suspicious occurrence, dated 14 months before the arrest, and it lists Broderick Lundy as a suspect. The report says a student raised concerns that there was talk on campus of a school security person having sex with senior girls at Grandview High School. Was the district aware of this incident in February 2016?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
The report that was done in 2016, was that provided to the high school? Commander Ernie Ortiz investigated the communication breakdown.
The officer that authored the report, that in fact he notified school administration of the allegation.
A written notification or a verbal notification?
I believe it was a verbal notification.
So our investigation uncovered a communication breakdown between Aurora Police and the Cherry Creek School District. Police say they provided the key information, but the district has no record of a report that may have changed how it monitored its security guard and when it notified parents. There are some, Commander, that say this report should have been provided in writing to the district. Do you disagree?
No, I don't.
Ultimately, a communication failure between two agencies responsible for the safety of children and launching a point for change.
There's room for a better process of notification, yes. I would agree with that.
Has this been a learning process?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And shortly after that interview, Superintendent Bull went to work to fix that communication breakdown. We will have more on those changes later in this half hour.
My question to the district would be, why the delay?
Brian Stebbins spent time in jail, charged with a felony crime for inappropriate contact with a student.
Parents need to know what is happening immediately.
Two informed inside sources risked their reputations and careers to question decisions made by the Douglas County School District. Do you believe this coach, this teacher, got preferential treatment?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
You didn't pause?
Nope. He's never held accountable.
Denver 7 Investigates uncovered these text messages and compiled a timeline that raises questions about the district's transparency. Would you call this a cover-up?
There's been a lot of stuff covered up.
Consider these facts. After a 78-day investigation, deputies arrested Brian Stebbins on Friday, June 2nd. Douglas County High School parents were not informed about that arrest until hours after Denver 7 called the district. That was 6 days after Stebbins was arrested. When you learned some of the details, how did you individually react?
Makes you sick. It made me sick.
Following our call, the Douglas County High principal sent this email to parents. It included, Brian Stebbins was recently arrested on charges of sexual exploitation of a child and obscenity. But it did not include these details. 6 weeks before his arrest, public records show Coach Stebbins admitted to exchanging text messages of a sexually explicit nature. He also admitted to sending photos of his exposed genitals to the victim. And he confessed to receiving partially nude photographs of the victim. Mr. Stebbins, Tony Kowaleski from Denver 7. Do you have a moment? Following a recent hearing, we met the coach and teacher outside the courtroom. Your friendship with the principal, did that have any role in any preferential treatment, sir? And that remains a major part of what our investigation uncovered.
The principal was in the teacher's corner. He was feeding information that he was learning from a sergeant or from a detective.
Pretty strong stuff in those text messages. Pretty strong stuff. I hope the sheriff's office or the investigative authority has copies of those.
He's talking about these text messages obtained exclusively by Denver 7. They tell their own story about a principal, Tony Kappas, and his friend, Brian Stebbins. Police arrested Zachary Timbrell on December 23rd of 2016. 5 months later, the state revoked his teacher's license. But for months, the students he taught and their parents knew nothing. Should the school have notified parents?
We were not aware of his arrest.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Our investigation has exposed another flaw in the system. Because Zachary Timbrell resigned before he was arrested, Aurora police never notified the school district, a communication loophole between law enforcement and the district, a failure that kept critical information from parents. Are you saying the Aurora Police Department dropped the ball here?
No, I'm certainly not saying that. They don't have a responsibility to tell us that a former employee has been arrested.
The district did send this letter informing parents about Timbrell, but that letter came hours after Denver 7 reported the judge was sending him to jail. Another school district that delayed telling parents and never reached out to its former student. The school didn't contact you at all?
No contact.
Their employee arrested for inappropriate activity with you.
I haven't had any phone call, any messages, any apologies, nothing.
Just a few miles from Tristana's school, another teacher arrested and convicted. Another example of Aurora Public Schools keeping secrets. Will parents be surprised by what we report about Caitlin Davis?
I think there will be some parents who have more information than others.
That's because nearly 2 years after informing parents that teacher Caitlin Davis was, quote, out on leave, the district never told parents the details. Parents not formally informed she resigned, was charged, accepted a plea to 2 felonies, and required to register as a sex offender for conduct with a 6th grade female student. You know we're raising questions now about 2 incidents in your district.
Yes.
Will you change policy going forward on how you notify parents when teachers cross the line with students?
We constantly evaluate our policy.
In the end, a superintendent evaluating his options while a victim says it's now time for change, time for parents and students to know the truth.
I just think that this is incredibly heartbreaking, and as much as we wish that there was only one victim or one perpetrator in the school, there could be more.
So let's take a moment and summarize what we know. We know about Davis, we know about Timbrell, we know about Stebbins, we know about Lundy. In the past couple weeks, we've also learned there are several more. Brittany Freeman and Peter Lapomi are part of our Denver 7 investigative team. Brittany, talk about that number. How large is it?
So we know about 25 teachers and school employees who have been arrested on a sexual charge or gone before the State Board of Education this year on a criminal charge.
At least 18 of the crimes involve students or former students. At least 14 of those victims, high school students. 4 were middle school students, and the youngest reported victim, 10 years old.
For the majority of these cases, the school districts sent out a letter to parents and were pretty transparent about here's the charges that he's facing.
So it's fair to say in our reporting we found some school districts immediately telling parents and several others that didn't. What's our biggest takeaway?
My general takeaway is just inconsistency all around. I mean, you could have a lot of details in a press release given by one district, and then other times nothing at all.
Troubled by what we've uncovered, sir?
Yes, it's troubling. It's not surprising, and these are unfortunately all too common occurrences.
Steve Durham is an elected member of the Colorado Board of Education.
I think you found 3 or 4 very hot button instances, very serious instances where there was a deliberate attempt not to fully inform the public. And I don't think the problem would have been known well or even at all if it weren't for the public attention that you've brought to this.
But here's where the storyline takes an intriguing twist. The problems exposed in our investigations were actually fixed 6 years ago.
Those politicians knew what they were voting for when they voted to kill that rule and make sure parents remain in the dark.
A new call for action when we return.